All right. Hey, this is Mike from the Bad Liars, and today I'm going to take you behind our song Ain't Like the Movies. So, I think first to break it down, when I started to come up with this song, the main riff, which is was just something I was noodling with. I don't even remember, but I always like to play like major sevenths, and I thought that was kind of cool. I had another song that had like this kind of similar major seventh riff to it, and I don't know. I was just trying to play with it in that same way, but I want to say I was like somewhere up here in D. I was kind of like, and I always liked like these fifths kind of like how they played out a little bit, So it's in D, that first part's in D, and it goes from like D to a D major 7, then to E to F sharp. And it's kind of like stays on F sharp a little bit, and I don't know what you would call this, but it's like a minor, kind of like a minor, I guess a minor interval or something. So we got like a F sharp minor, and then back to an E fifth, F sharp. And that was kind of like the main riff, and so I was playing around with that a whole lot, and changing different keys and everything. And then like I also had this other part that I didn't know what to do with it, but I really liked it, where it was kind of like just going down. I think I had it in E at the time. And I liked that because it had this like E drone, right? And I was just kind of playing around with trying to hit a lot more notes within the major scale, and I really didn't know what to do with it, and I thought it might work well with this same riff, so I moved it up into the key of D, the key of A, and just kind of hit on those same spots. So I put those together, and that's where I felt like the song really started to click. A couple other influences, I'll say. Like I really love John Resnick, the Goo Goo Dolls. I think he's a phenomenal songwriter. I think he's a great guitar player, and I think when I was younger, when I was learning to play the guitar, the Goo Goo Dolls, that's really when they broke, and I think he had a lot of influence on how I write and how I play. In fact, that opening riff is very reminiscent of a song on their album Superstar Car Wash, Falling Down, I think. And I had that in mind, when we went in to record it, that I really wanted that like solo guitar in the beginning, just really clear and crisp, before the drums came in. So. And if you listen to Superstar Car Wash, you listen to Fall Down, that beginning sounds very, very similar. So that definitely got that from Goo Goo Dolls. I guess I'll go into a little bit of like the lyrics and the meaning behind the song. When I write songs, I don't know if this is like this for everybody, but when I write songs, sometimes I don't even know what it is that I'm trying to get out, which is very different to how Jordy writes songs. I feel like Jordy comes into a song with something that he knows he wants to get across, a message that he wants to send. I feel like, and I don't know if it's because I'm just like more introverted or I'm not great with expressing feelings outwardly. Sometimes I don't even know, what I'm trying to get out. And so to me, I feel like when I write songs, it's kind of like pulling out a thread, and I keep pulling it and I keep pulling it, I keep pulling it. And it's like, I don't know where I'm going to get, I'm just kind of following how I feel. And eventually something comes out where I'm like, oh, that's what I was trying to say. That felt pretty good. And so for this one, I had that main riff. I think if I remember right, like I feel like that first verse just kind of came out of it. It just kind of came out of it, um, right as it was, and I remember feeling like very tired and just feeling like, trying so hard, and just feeling like you're not getting anywhere. And I was like, I think that's how I'm feeling at this. I feel like this is how this makes me feel. So it was like, weeks spent, late rent, left behind while waiting on a friend. And that just kind of came out pretty naturally. Like I feel like that was the first thing that I said, and I liked that. And I was like, oh yeah, let me kind of follow this feeling, this emotion down. This feeling of just feeling like the week is just so long, and I try so hard, and I can't even make rent, and I can't even hang out with friends. Like they're just leaving me behind. And so that's kind of the feeling that kind of took off with the song. Um, and and when we recorded it, it was very parallel in how I sang that. It was like, weeks spent, late rent, left behind while waiting on a friend. Which is fine. I think it's fine. It's also funny when we're recording. I don't enunciate very well, and they were like, "You gotta enunciate more. Like, really hit those T's. Really hit them." And so, if you listen, you can really hear me like, "Week spent, late rent," and I hate it. I'm gonna be honest. I hate it so much. But everybody else thought it was fine. And now when I listen to it, I'm like, I guess it was fine. Whatever. But yeah, I don't know why. I just feel like that it doesn't sound super natural to me, but it's all good. People can hear what I'm actually saying, so that's cool. Anyway, back to my point. When you write songs, before you record anything, you should play them out. Like go play them 100 times, 50 times, and try to really get it to feel. I can't tell you how many times I thought I had a song down, and we're playing it, and then I play something different. I'm like, that's better, and I start incorporating that back in. It's very small, very minor, but I feel like this was one of those times where I had that, where I normally sing it parallel, or what I used to sing it parallel, like weeks spent, late rent, in those two notes at the same time. But recently, and I think I always like it better, I started to drop it down. So it was like, weeks spent, late rent, left behind while waiting on a friend. I like that better. I don't know. So I wish I had recorded it that way, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. That's how I play it now when we play out. It's just how things go. So following that same thread, I thought about just, I don't know, being younger and wanting to get away from things and technology, all this stuff. So the next verse, or the next part of that verse, was like, leave home, the dead phone, and run away just to be alone. I don't know, and I thought that kind of followed that same thread of like, there's just so much pressure and so much like notifications and things just coming in, and everything's so loud that to get away, you just run away from everything, and that's how you're allowed to be alone. There's just so much distraction in our lives. So I like that verse coming into it. So the next thing, going into the pre-chorus, it was like the idea of not really fitting in anywhere, and that's where that idea of out of step with everyone you meet. So out of step with everyone you meet. And then an accident that's stuck on repeat. Desperate for anything. And I thought that was interesting too, that line of like an accident stuck on repeat. I don't know about anybody out there, but I can tell you, like personally, like that rings to me. Like I just feel like we're constantly feel like I'm messing up. right? like like we're all messing up. We're messing up in our relationships and our friends, with work, with kids, whatever. Just just being this constant reminder of stuck on repeat. And that takes us into the chorus. And with the chorus, um, I don't remember where this idea came from. I kind of was thinking of like the character in the song, and that maybe the character was like an actor or an actress, an out of work, or somebody who's trying to get work, trying to get work as an actor or actress, and it's just so hard, like in any of these industries, it's just really hard. Um, and I thought like this idea of like we always watch these movies and there's always these happy endings and things are always working out. And in this case, and I feel like in reality, it's not always a happy ending, and things aren't always working out. And so that's kind of where that idea for the chorus came from, where it was, ain't like the movies, not some star of a TV show, still waiting on tables. You lost something, can't let go. You had one reason to believe, find that one thing you need. Can't let go, you can't let go, you can't let go. And so in that verse, or sorry, that chorus, it just kind of had like all this imagery around movies. That idea of just losing that support model, that thing that just kept you going, and it's like, well, maybe now it's time to give up. That's kind of where that came from. And then the ending of the chorus of like, can't let go. Like I really like that part. I really liked repeating that part. Thought about calling the song "Can't Let Go" as well. But yeah, I mean that was kind of the feeling behind the song. So basically, everything dancing around that main A chord there. So I think that's what I like about this song, is that when it hits into that chorus, that A really hits hard, because like we're just kind of dancing around it the whole time, So when we hit into it, we're hitting off this E chord. And like the movies, you're not some star of a TV show, still waiting on tables. You lost someone, can't let go. So it hits that A. It's just like such a nice, to me, it feels like such a nice resolution to everything else that's been happening in the song. So I kind of really dug that, when we started working on that. And after that, we go into the outro of the chorus. And then hit that same little riff that we've hit for that I was talking about earlier, which is just basically F sharp, E, D, E, with a little bit in between. Into the second verse, it was a struggle trying to get there, if I'm being honest. I think I had at least like 2 or 3 other verses, and when I bring it to practice, the guys were like, "Yeah, it feels a little too long." So I had to cut some verses out, and just ended up with the one that we have in the song, moving through places, never really setting down roots, so you're pass through on cue. You got a brand new place to settle into. Pass through on cue, a brand new place to settle into. Take sides, cover lies, cover the cuts that made me feel alive. I always like that verse too, cover the cuts that made me feel alive. Just like the idea that in order to feel anything, that that you harm yourself. That was kind of where that came from. You just feel it, just to feel it. And I think we used to play it like straight up. Pass through on cue, when your place to settle into. And then as we were recording it, they were like, maybe it'd be cool if we just like hit that open A and take it down an octave. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I had to do this probably like 8 or 10 times. I mean, it's really, like, I have a deep voice, but it's really uncomfortable for me to sing in that lower register. I think Jordy had to go up and do it once, and then I came in and had to do it. And even today, like, even when we play it, I struggle to hit that and to have it feel okay. But yeah, I'm glad we did it, because I think in the end it did come out really well. Out of touch with everyone you knew, and chasing ghosts can't bring them back to you. Desperate for anything. That was another moment too, where I used to sing it the same, and then when we were recording, our producer was like, what? Try going up. You went down, try going up. And it worked out. It worked out really great. From there, we get into basically the bridge of the song. And it's a take of that same riff, the F sharp E D riff. But I just loved it when we were playing it and we went into halftime, on that, because it just felt like everything kind of slowed down. We had the bass coming in and the bass hitting like these slides. The idea, with that was just to hit a cool musical break, and then to go into like this bridge part. And I think when we were driving, when we were on the way to the studio, I think it was Jordy who brought it up. It'd be like, man, wouldn't it be so cool if, like, we got some audio from some of our favorite old movies, some nostalgic movies, and we put it into the song. That'd be pretty cool. We didn't know how to do that. We didn't know what to do with that. But what ended up happening was like, well, maybe we can stage it as like this phone call, this late night phone call where it's like you've realized the mistakes that you made and you're trying to get something back. Like, and that was the idea. I put it in at first, and it didn't work as well, with my voice in there. I had a friend who was an actress, so I asked her. I was like, hey, would you mind saying some things? I didn't have anything written down. I just kind of gave her like, this is your state of mind, and this is kind of how I want you to feel, and kind of imagine it like this. And like, she killed it. I think she did a great job. We just like looped through it several times, and got her to record a whole bunch of lines. Then we put them together, and that's the telephone part in that bridge. So it's like. Break up, fall down into place, lost your way, you fell from grace, jaded from a wasted day. You can't escape, you can't escape. This was another part where I'm kind of like, I don't know, but people seem to like it. Where I just kind of like let that escape just go, right on into the solo. That was another thing that the producer was like, hey man, give this a try and see what you can do. I'm not a great singer, I'm not going to lie. That was really hard for me. It was really hard for me to keep it up. I think when I listen back to it, I kind of hear the vocals breaking a little bit. But I don't know. It gives a little flavor to the song. It's cool. Anyway, once we get into that, we get into the solo. So I'll break down the solo for you. It's just a F sharp pentatonic. So playing in that F sharp pentatonic scale here on the, what is that, the 14th fret. And it's a basic run up to that that A note. Then we hit this, right? Bend, and I always like this slow bend into that note, and then hitting the what is that, 17th fret behind it, right? And then bend back down. So again, like that's at on that what is it? The 15th fret. Hitting those just like melodic notes in there to add to the pentatonic. When I was trying to come up with this solo and how it would work, I was thinking about David Gilmour, and this is like so ridiculous, but I always felt like he put a lot of good like melodic notes into his pentatonics, which really kind of gave him a lot of flavor, just really interesting stuff. He did a lot of half bends too, so I was like playing around with half bends, and that's like the next part in this one where it's like a half bend on the 13th up to the 14th. Which is actually one of my favorite things to do. I think this is in this song. I think it's so cool. If I do say so myself, I think it's so cool. But it's like this starts off with a pre-half bend to the 14th and releases. Slide down. Slide up. And then end on that A. But I just love that phrase so much. And I was like, oh, that's kind of David Gilmour-y, right? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. But I think it's cool. That was one of my favorite things to do. And then I come down here to this position here on the, what is this, 7th? Like 7-9, right? And I just start playing some more pentatonics there. And then to the end. Right, so we end right there on that E. And then when I was playing the solo, when we were recording it, like I never play this live because I got to go back to singing, and it's hard for me to sing and like play individual notes. But we're recording it, and I put in this last part. It was something I always knew I wanted to do, but the guys had no idea. And they were like, whoa, what's happening? Like, oh, but I do think it really breaks up that last chorus really well, to have the guitar doing something a little bit different. So it's back to the end of the chorus. Repeat. And then this is the end, right? And we used to play it super straightforward, just like we would anything else. And the producer was like, man, you know what would be cool, guys? Like you do like really like just give that really, like really emphasize those hits. And he was right, man. Like I think that ending sounds so cool. And that's how we play it now every time, So what's really fun about going in the studio and having somebody to work with is they have different ideas, and it's like, man, we would never have thought of that on our own, and it does work really, really, like really well. So that's pretty much the song, the whole song for that. A couple other things I want to talk about in this song is the acoustic parts. So I'm just going to switch guitars here for a sec. Okay, so I did want to talk a little bit about the acoustic parts in this because we didn't really plan on having acoustic parts in this. But when we got back from the recording session, they were mixing and called us up, and he's like, "Man, you know what would really be cool is that would really kind of fatten out the sound a little bit is if we put some acoustic guitar in there. So if you could just record some stuff, at home and send it to us, that would be really cool." And I was like, "Sure, I'll do my best to record stuff at home and send it to you." So I did record several acoustic parts. And one of the things I wanted to point out on this song was like I have this open tuning that I kind of augmented from Dadgad. It's a D A D G A E instead of D, and it's one that I use on several songs. And again, I think that's kind of going back to that Goo Goo Dolls influence, where John Resnick, a lot of his songs were in altered tunings. Like I think everybody knows that Iris is in this weird D B B B B B B B type thing. And Dame has a different tuning, and Flat Top has a different tuning. Just small little tweaks just to give the guitar a little bit different voice. So this is one that I always had, and I had a couple songs written in it, and I thought like, oh, that could really work for this one too, because it lends itself really well to like A and D, and this song is basically in A, but kind of centers around D a little bit, and so it kind of gives this nice open string sound to it. So when I was recording it, I was like, oh, really excited that I would get to use this again, and I basically just doubled the parts with a lot of these open strings. So. And then when we got to the part where we normally just hold open, I always had this like little extra twist to the main riff, and I was super happy that it made it in. It was just, it was taking it as basically the same notes, but just a little bit different in how it's structured. So like normally it's like, and in this one I just kind of like take it, it's like a descending note motif, whatever. So it's like, and I was really happy that made it in, because that was one that we didn't record, and I was like, oh, I guess it's not making it in. But because we added the acoustic, we were able to get that in, and I think it adds a lot, and so that's pretty cool. And those are the acoustic parts in this. Just a lot of open strings, a lot of drones. And when I do write acoustic songs, I feel like that's something that I do a lot of. I did want to talk about the harmonies that went in there. I don't typically think about harmonies in songs, but Randy does. Randy does. And when we were recording some of Jordy's songs, there were some really nice harmonies. And I was like, damn it, man, I want some harmonies in this song. So I think we spent about a week after the initial recording just kind of thinking how some of these harmonies would come in. I watched a lot of videos on different types of harmonies. And I think one I saw was about Basket Case, and they talked about how they did just these single note harmonies like all the way across. So like even though Billy Joe had a different melody in there, the harmony just kind of hit the same note, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And so in the pre-chorus and chorus, we threw some of those in there. And I can't remember, but I can't remember exactly how it goes, but I do remember like driving in the car, like listening to the console, the original, the first takes, and just playing it and just trying to come up with harmonies. And I think it was like, ooh, ah, like when we're coming into that pre-chorus, or it's like, out of step, everyone you meet. It was like, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Does anything, something like that. And then we just echoed a little bit in the chorus. Ain't like the movies, not some star of a TV show. Something like that. And it sounded pretty good. So that's kind of how we got those harmonies. And I think Randy did a take and I did a take. And honestly, I don't know which one's actually in there. Maybe both of us are in there. Who knows? Think about harmonies when you're writing songs, when you're in the recording studio, because they do add a lot of depth. They add a lot of feeling to the song, especially when you got somebody who can really, really help you out with making harmonies that work with the song. Weeks spent, late rent, left behind while waited on a friend. Leave home, dead phone, run away just to be alone. How to stand everyone you meet. Accident that's stuck on repeat. Desperate for anything, but this ain't like the movies. And not some star of a TV show. Still waiting on tables. You lost someone, can't let go. You had one reason to believe. Found that one thing you need. Can't let go. Can't let go. Can't let go. On you, a brand new place to settle into. Take sides, cover lies, cover the cuts that made me feel alive. How to touch everyone you knew. Chasing goals can't bring them back to you. Desperate for anything, but this ain't like the movies. Not some star of a TV show. Still waiting on tables. You lost someone, can't let go. You had one reason to believe. Found that one thing you need. Can't let go. Can't let go. Can't let go. Break up, fall down into place. Lost your way, you fell from grace. Jaded from a wasted day. You can't escape, you can't escape. reason to believe. Found that one thing you need. Can't let go. 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 Thank you all very much.